All right. I will count it down and set us off on the right track. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Mike Morheim from Blizzard, and you're listening to The Instance.
You're listening to The Instance.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Instance. This is The Instance episode, I don't even know, 391 for November 21st, 2014. I'm Scott Johnson, joined today by Patrick. Hello, Patrick.
Ooh, wow, I'm first.
You're first.
Does that mean I'm the most important co-host?
No, it means you are alphabetically backwards. Wait, how's it work?
Beja is B.
Yeah.
It goes first.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Beja goes first.
Yeah, I forgot.
All right,
first
you know
name
what?
basis.
I'll take what I can get.
All right, fine. Also with us,
We've heard that about you.
Terpster, what's going on? How are you?
You're not going alphabetical.
No, whoops,
You can't
Dills.
flip it like that.
Dills,
Look,
what's going on,
B.
Dills? Well, no, he's Willie. Oh, yeah, W is the first name. Gregory'd be next.
Yeah, exactly.
But Beja
come on.
and
Scott.
Dills. Yeah, okay. So yeah,
You've got no order to your ordered introduction. This is ridiculous.
this is chaos, Scott Johnson.
Well, now,
chaos.
listen,
It's
now.
people like you that made them introduce plots into Garrisons, and
Yeah.
you can't just put it wherever,
Right.
Because they know that yours would look terrible.
Yeah.
It would just be everyone be grouped in one corner.
No, if you've ever seen me play traditional Warcraft or StarCraft, you know that I am a mess when it comes to my camp, my home base. I'm a huge mess. So in a way, I think they've done me a great service by saying you can only put these.
I think
in
it's
these
more
plots.
a tech thing as well, but still, I think it's your fault.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
We can blame Johnson.
Sure. So here's the deal. With four of us, how many of us? 4 total?
Yeah. You got to remember yourself as well.
I got to throw myself in there. It can be, the introductions can be a little wily. It used to be able to, have this big long tale of how people were doing at the beginning of the show. But now I think we just go, bam, Patrick, bam, Terpster, bam, Dills. Go, 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 right? Just get out on the field and play the damn game.
I think we're at a very lucky time where there's a lot of news. There's a lot of stuff going on in WoW, so we don't need to really fluff it out too much with, have you been playing much Hearthstone this week? Yeah, I have actually, yeah. Let's talk about that and just try and stretch it out a little bit, and then we'll talk about today's big news. There were some tweets from some developers. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
They tweeted something.
It can happen.
Yeah.
So wait,
Well, it's
Terpster's-
actually substantial things. have happened.
PvP season ended.
Yeah.
They're in.
Hey,
Yeah.
they're
Well, it's
merging
got a date
servers.
to end. We now know when it's going to end.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
hurry
Terpster,
What you're
up.
saying is basically most of the shows are usually filler
All
crap,
filler, no
and
killer.
this time
Exactly.
it's right.
like
Yeah.
this right
Yeah,
here.
makes sense.
Like this. This is filler. Hold on, Terpster, since you're at the mic, I would like you to tell us tale of where you're at in the game. I assume you've dinged before any of us.
A level 100 warrior. Yeah, so I dinged out only a couple of days ago. Well behind the curve for a lot of the hardcore here and in the guild and things like that. And so I've been, I'm lagging behind. My garrison's still level 2 because I thought, what I should do, level up my barracks. And I'll go on to why actually that is important later in the show.
Please.
Because it's not an exploit, it's just a feature that I expect to be removed soon.
All right.
So I'll talk about how you can level up your bodyguard follower really easily. And
Is it considered an exploit, or
it's not. So basically, when you have a bodyguard, when you have a level 2 garrison, level 2 barracks in your garrison, there's 5 per faction that come with the bodyguard trait, and they'll follow you around like a combat pet that you don't have any control over. So they're a nightmare anywhere where the other faction is, because they'll just start killing the other faction, who will just be like, no thank you, and then they die and you can't get them for an hour. It's a nightmare.
Oh, that's weird.
But you have like a friendship reputation with them where you level up from kind of bodyguard to wingman, and like, when they become a wingman, they unlock other abilities as well. There's that kind of 2 stages. So for example, I have a death knight that opens a death gate back to my garrison whenever I want it, so it's really handy just to like jump back, start another mission, and then you fly off somewhere else.
Okay.
But
no like passive or defensive set on that guy. You can't tell him to.
No. But for example, they have different abilities that are handy. They're just like extra deeps out in the field. They don't follow you into dungeons. It's whatever it is.
Sure.
But anyway, there's this place in Talador, just south of like the Exarch's Rise or whatever it's called. So kind of south of Satrath, kind of to the east of Arkandun.
Oh yeah, I know.
Where it's filled with spiders.
Yeah.
And there's this little area with loads of critter spiders that you basically trample. And when you trample them, after you trample like 100 or something stupid, it doesn't take that long, a rare spawn, a giant spider appears and you kill it. Currently, and this is why I think it may be changed, is currently every time you stand on you trample one of those critters, it gives you the same rep as any other kill, which is 10 rep. And these guys need like 10,000 rep per level, and there's 3 levels they go through. So basically, if you run around in circles in this area for about 20 minutes, you max out their rep. And it's one less grind in the game once you've grinded that little bit.
I'm going with
front.
exploit, not feature on that.
Yeah, I think
I think this is one of those.
Anytime you're running around in circles, exploit.
Yeah.
So there's like a cave somewhere filled with squirrels.
Yeah, plus it's in a cave, you know, like
This
shooting in a cave, running in a cave.
It does seem like a feature that's going to be amended. Is what I would say.
But in this word feature, but
I very much enjoyed having my max friendship dude because I didn't want to have to kill you have to kill like 2,000 things.
Yeah.
It would take ages, and I want my gratification now, not in a time when I appreciate it more. I want it now, and then to not really value it that much.
Well, maybe we'll
So
get
anyway,
And then to be bored with it after 15 minutes.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
that's possible. But maybe somebody at Blizzard could pipe in and say whether
That would be interesting.
they do this all the
probably say,
time.
like Terps now is temp banned for the next kind of 2 weeks, and we've hot fixed it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I don't know if they'll do that specifically for you, but I believe they may say, look, working as intended. It may be possible that they're thinking here's a shortcut for people that want to hurry up.
Maybe, because equally there's so many, if you go outside Shattrath, there's so many demons coming in. All you need to do is tag them. You don't need to actually kill them, and you can get the rep from those kills.
Also sounds like an exploit, but
no, because it's just designed that way. It's just all about when a mob dies, you get a measly 10 reputation where you need like 30,000.
Yeah.
So it's designed with that feature in mind. I'm fairly sure.
Okay.
Potentially, the more I say it out loud, the more I think
the more you
that's
believe
probably
it.
not
Yeah.
what they meant.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe.
I think they meant
case-
eventually you would just have this by just naturally playing the game. And
Yeah, but I want, like, some of the followers give you the ability to access your mailbox and send
I need
mail
that.
when you're about. Some of them will allow you to summon a party member. You still need another party member with you, but they're basically like a portable warlock summoning stone.
Yeah.
And
Portable warlock, I like that.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, there's like little handy features that otherwise the barracks at level 2 is a bit meh.
Portal
So
lock.
I kind of liked it.
So, but that's held you. I mean, what's your time investment now to get your whole thing upgraded to?
So I'm 1,500 garrison resources into the 2,000 you need for that. So I'm another couple of days, really, sadly, before I get my castle, which is the whole reason I started Alliance again. Is just to have a castle, because it's so cool.
Yeah, and
so
Shadow
cool.
Moon's awesome, man. As much as I really loved what I got to do Horde side up there in the frozen waste there, but man, Shadow Moon is. I got to go fishing there.
Shadow Moon is absolutely beautiful, and there's at max level Horde you can go over there and do some Apexis dailies, and stuff like that. There's things like that around there. But yeah, Shadow Moon's the
bomb.
daddy.
So Patrick, from the other European perspective, where are you at? What are you doing? I assume you've hit 100. No.
No. I haven't had as much time to play as I hoped. I'm 95, almost 96, and part of it is because I haven't had enough time. Part of it is because I'm spending so much time in my garrison. I'm just sending followers on mission all the time.
So do all your followers outrank you? Like
yeah, absolutely. They're almost level 100. I just got the achievement for 100 follower missions. Nice. So yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of those. I've been farming in the excavation. So I've been mining. I can't wait to get my herb garden. It's like I love these things. So I've still been doing quests. I finished Shadow. Moon. I finished Gorgron, which I really
I was
liked.
wondering what the end
so I'm
of that
going to
was
start.
be.
Yeah, I love.
I was on the edge of my seat there.
Gorgron was insane, dude.
Gorgron is a lovely zone.
No, I loved it there. My gosh, that was great.
Yeah.
It's like they said, "Hey Scott, we know you missed Thousand Needles, so we'll just give you a kind of a place like that a little bit here." Even Negrand's got some.
You
of
and
that.
Thousand Needles, by the way. Now it's like documented.
Now it's in a film.
Yeah.
Not expected.
And
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so I'm really liking it. I'm loving the storylines. You know, it's nothing revolutionary, but it's just really engrossing. And you're like, when you start getting the mercenaries in Gorgron, and then you meet up with Rexar, and you have to like go and free his animals, and then the mercenaries, you have to get them. Yeah, sorry.
I think you're fine.
It's not a spoiler.
It's not for
Kind
this
of.
audience.
I was surprised when he came along out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I was
but
like,
it's-
hey,
well,
what's up,
Scott
man?
mentioned Rexar last week, so
Okay.
Yeah, I did because I saw him early hanging out somewhere, and I thought, "Ooh, Rexar." He didn't give me anything. There were no quests at the time, and I've seen him since in another way. I won't mention. Maybe it's the one Patrick's
I
talking
think
about.
you only get quests from him if you choose the PvP side of that. You know, you choose.
Yeah, you get it with the
yeah.
the
It's
arena.
But you get to choose which outpost to build. If you get there are different ones in each zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's just awesome looking. Is all I know about that guy. But yeah, that's great.
So yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm really loving it.
Are you? So let me ask you this question, because you just said a thing about the Garrisons that I more and more I believe this thing that I already kind of believed before the game, but Corey and other people directly involved in this feature have been very cagey about whether or not it would continue past this expansion. There's a lot of talk about, oh, well, this is, this is an expansion thing. We don't know what it means in the future. I am now just about 100% sure that Garrisons are not only a feature that carry from this expansion to the next, but become an integral part of the game moving forward from here and forever. I don't think they ever take Garrisons out. They iterate, they make it better, they add to it, but there's no way this leaves now.
I don't know. Maybe something else that uses Garrison's mechanics, but even then, I think it's super fun and it fits the lore if you're doing it in this expansion. But I could see how if you have to rebuild your outpost and your garrison every single expansion, maybe every other expansion, maybe there's something slightly different. But I'm not sure. I would love for there to be specific to the next expansion that is makes sense with that next expansion, but not necessarily the exact same garrison mechanic.
If it's the Dark Below and we're going to see the Naga,
or the Eye of
maybe
Ashara.
maybe
Dark Below is now an expansion.
Not Dark Below.
Yeah, Dark Below is that expansion for freaking Destiny now. It turned out.
Well, maybe we could go down underground, underwater, and have a submarine.
Yeah,
I'd love to build a submarine up and add different kind of crew compartments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's an easy way to take that Garrison model and rebuild it, because basically Garrisons is meant to be farms on crack. They like what farms were in Mists, and they thought, well, how can we, make this a bit more?
I don't see why they can't just give it the Dalaran treatment and just say, hey, some mage came in and just floated your garrison over to the new spot, and here you go.
Yeah,
I'm not that
Garrison.
attached to it. Like, unlocking stuff's cool, but I don't mind unlocking stuff that's bigger or different.
No,
if my
they
old
have to
Garrison
expand
mine
on it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. My old Garrison mine
they
is
could
only
do
very
it.
Far.
There's no question they could do it. It's just, is it the best thing for the game to have you rebuild your garrison every single expansion?
It has to make sense, obviously.
Yeah,
But
that's a fair question. I'm all for the idea of taking the model and moving it forward, and that's really all I mean. I don't mean that, hey, every time in this game you got to fly back to your town that you built way back in 2014. I just mean this kind of thing just breathes so much new life into the game for so many. I mean, it's universally people are like, whoa, this is
there's nobody
great.
who doesn't like this, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. It's free. You know what it is? I mean, it's like a free-to-play iOS game that you hate because it's got all this well, if you want to hurry up and finish this, you can spend the money or you can go buy Smurf berries or whatever. It's like one of those games with all of its hooks and addictions without the free-to-play part. That's all I ever
but
want.
It's still good though. It's still good. Like they always say, like with free to play, like if you didn't have those gated bits, they wouldn't be as fun. And they still have those with the you got to wait 10 hours on a mission,
sure,
or something.
But they don't. But I don't have to go spend 99 cents on.
But I've seen people playing it on iPads using like a log me in or something like that, so they can have it running on a computer and then just tap away at it while they're at work or something like that.
Well, there are people already making apps to actually access it.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's
Really?
Garrison.
Well,
yeah,
How does
yeah.
that work?
it's
There's
all
a guy who
it's
said
all
he's
vegan.
even talking to Blizz devs about how
Oh,
to
really?
get it going.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't see it
that.
either, but
Yeah.
it's
But
happening. We're doing
they
it.
were chatting about it on Reddit, and on Reddit as well, they're calling them wizard chores, because that's what people see it as, is doing your daily wizard chores. And so like I log
that's kind
in
of what
and
it is, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I log in, I clear out the garden, clear out the mine, pick up my work orders, set new work orders, and then hopefully I wake up to having 10 hours worth of missions completed. And then what's depressing is sometimes I wake up and it's like, oh, there's still 3 hours left, and I realize how late I went to bed and how early I was getting up, and how sad that was. But the hope was there that you kind of try and min-max that sort of.
Do you do those overnight? Is that how you're doing the longer ones? Is save those?
Wait,
I-
10-hour ones?
That's how you do them.
I try and do that overnight, and then also first thing in the morning, just purely because before that was the easiest way to get into the game.
Sure.
Was first thing in the morning I could guarantee getting in. Now I haven't encountered a queue since J. Allen Brack's message, so that was amazing. And I've been on at peak times, and it's a really busy server. So I've been really, really pleased to see how Blizzard's kind of turned around with the events.
Yeah, and we'll get into all that because there's so much to say about what transpired and what the resulting numbers of people that are in the game now. It way outstripped our expectations last week when we made our predictions. When we said how many people might be back in the game. We'll get into that in a minute. Dills, you've been out of town, so you had less playtime. But how's it going for you in there? What's going on?
So I don't even all this stuff couldn't get in queues, whatever. I just missed all that.
Like,
Actually, that was great.
free, baby.
I got my 5 days free. I was in Vegas for the MGA World Championships so after BlizzCon, I land. I'm in on Monday, and then on Tuesday I leave again for a week.
That's
so
crazy.
I got 0 playtime in, and got back on Monday of this week and was super tired and sick. Didn't play at all Tuesday. Oh no, wait, yeah, Tuesday was my first day. So I've gotten 3 nights in so far.
Yeah.
And I'm about 94 and a half.
That's not bad.
And what I've been doing is just kind of playing it as if I just kind of want to do whatever's in front of me, like whatever the next thing I'm supposed to do is. So it's not like I'm spending a lot of time in the Garrison or a lot of time questing. I've been doing dungeons along the way, queuing for LFG and stuff like that. I've been doing archaeology. I've been fishing whenever I see some. Like I'm just kind of.
But
out
isn't
in
that
the
great?
world
Like
doing
how
whatever.
their new approach to professions, where it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, you can do it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level you were and stuff like that. Just play it, just get involved. And I think that's amazing.
I love that.
The way this feels is nothing feels grindy. Everything just feels like, oh, hey, I'm walking through an archaeology dig site. Like I'll just do a little bit of that while I'm on my way to this quest, and then once I finish that, on my way to the quest and do some more story, and and then it's like, oh, here's a quest to do a dungeon. Okay, let's queue for that dungeon. And it's just I'm just kind of taking it as it comes. I'm not trying to like grind up one specific thing. Everything's just kind of slowly working its way up, and it's really, really fun, and nothing feels grindy. Everybody's 100 though, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm like looking around and everybody's freaking 100.
It feels like it. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm on a PvP server, and it's happened to me a couple of times. I got unfairly ganked by
The problem is a lot of people out there have the Gladiators Arena and they're working on their cheese. They need to kill like 1,000 of everyone. Like if you want to get the Defender of Draenor achievement, you have to get 5,000 honorable kills across Draenor. And it does count in Ashran and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And equally as well, PvP, like seriously, best way in the world to gear up now. Because you don't lose any, there's no stats wasted on PvP gear anymore. It's not like there's resilience or something in there taking up item budget.
It's higher eye level when you're in PvP than
exactly,
PvE,
yeah. So it's just your weapons and armor are stronger in PvP environments, but equally just run a load of, once you cap out, run a load of battlegrounds. You get drops like all the time from completing a battleground that you can gear up in like 620 gear.
Yeah, you can use that to move into the
straight
heroics.
away, and then you go straight into heroics. To do the Molten Core raid at the moment, you need to have a minimum eye level of 610, and so literally best way to play the game at the moment is to jump into battlegrounds, Ashran and stuff like that, and just really go ham on PvP. And it's great. It feels like there is, I think everyone can agree, there's something special about this expansion that no one, as excited as we were for this expansion, I don't think any of us, potentially even Blizzard, expected it to feel how it feels.
I have a theory on this. So here's my theory. I think that there was a real push just internally to really make the best work they could. So I think there was already that. They had this desire to go back to some story elements that they haven't visited since the beginning. It was the 20-year, 10-year anniversary. And the big part of it is players have now gone through a decade of other MMOs trying and failing, thinking they're going to be the next WoW. All that talk you heard for the last 10 years. And none of them really did it. And I think that this marks a time where everybody not only it's kind of a perfect storm. Not only is Blizzard firing on all cylinders and doing things to the game that truly refreshed it, but a huge portion of the old player base is saying, well, all my hopes and dreams being laid at the feet of EA and 1,000 other developers was unrequited love. I'm going back to the game that got me into this in the first place. And they're all coming back.
Well, it's true. I mean, the numbers that came back is like the numbers that you'd have for a new exciting and it's even bigger than that. But
exactly, yeah.
But it is true, and I also think while you're saying, all these other MMOs have tried and failed. Also, WoW has tried and failed and kind of figured out, failed is obviously a loose term, but tried a lot of different ways to do things out and kind of had 10 years of feedback. And is now going, oh, you know what? This is what players really want. So why don't we give the players what they really want?
Yeah.
On top of that as well, I mean, people said a while ago that WoW was being developed by the B team and that all those other guys had moved on to Titan. Now, I disagree with that. But that being said, this is the first expansion we've had since that Titan team kind of moved back, at least a lot of those guys. And so you kind of feel that there's been some real positive impact from the lessons that they learned and were developing around what was going to be Blizzard's other MMO project. So I think it is that perfect storm of just there's lots of things feeding into this pot and a lot of excitement, a lot of classic nostalgia and classic people involved that have just really made something that sings to the Warcraft fan in everyone.
Yeah.
But we're talking around everything so much. We should just go into the big news of the week.
We should, but
we've kind of already done it.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm not buying it was the Titan people who came back and made WoW better. I really don't think that's what happened. It's just they tried their best to make the best expansion they could. And for everyone agrees that Mists was an awesome expansion. It was just the theme that didn't really jive with the WoW community, but the game mechanically was fantastic. So maybe the return to the classic WoW theme is speaking more to people, but I wouldn't say that the mechanics of the expansion was.
You could be right. You could be right.
It feels like a combination of all those things to me, though.
Well, so there's that, and then there's also things like Timeless Isle worked in a different way than some of these old kind of quest hubby type catch-up mechanic places worked, and now they've even gone farther in that direction of taking out the grindiness of some of those because it used to just be here's a daily quest hub, here's another one, and then for this expansion it's this one, and what they did with Timeless Isle was they said, no, you're gonna go in here, there's gonna be a couple dailies, but mostly you're kind of grinding out getting gear really fast,
just keep iterating,
lots of rewards. Now it's like, okay, we're just gonna give you the lots of reward model without the grindiness, and it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, and we're going to give you the potential.
Maybe, as controversial as it originally seemed, not flying has made such a big difference to me in terms of
absolutely
how this world feels, the treasures, and trying to navigate my way up to try and see, like, I can see it up there, but how the hell do I get up there? And I think that
I can go around or I can go through. Yeah,
it feels like it's tugging on all those nostalgic vanilla heartstrings of like, this is what it was like. We were landlocked, and I feel far more vulnerable. I can't just mount up and just go straight up and be like, see you later. It is. I mean, I do have my tree assassins guys, which is amazing. If you get the lumber mill at level 2, you complete a quest line which allows you to transform into a tree every 10 minutes, and it makes you untargetable. It is the ganker's dream. I love it to pieces.
That's amazing.
But anyway, I do feel more vulnerable on the ground, and the world feels so much bigger. Archaeology can sometimes be a real pain in the ass because all of a sudden there's a cliff face in the way, and it says that I need to go only a couple more yards, but that involves involves me going all the way around the edge to try and go up a cliff.
Yeah.
You could just jump off and see what happens.
You know what's the irony of all this, though? Here's the irony of what you're saying, and with the whole not flying thing. When I'm in doing all the Arakoa stuff, which, by the way, I'm a ginormous fan of that entire zone, and everything I did in there story-wise was insane. I freaking loved it.
Oh, what level are you, Scott?
99 with about... I've probably got 45 minutes of questing, and I'll be 100. So later today, I'll ding. But that Arakoa stuff is amazing. The voice of the dude you're rolling with, for the most part, is Frank Welker, who does Megatron, which is just like talking to Megatron, which is crazy. Anyway, point is, from the old cartoon, that is, that I'm rolling around in there, and everybody's, pulling up random mounts when they're mounting and things. And I'm seeing all these mounts that are normally air mounts, huge wingspans and all this stuff, but they're forced to be on the ground because the game doesn't allow flying yet. And the irony just hits me. I'm in this Arakoa zone dealing with this sad, sad tale of how all of this entire race of beings have had their wings clipped so that they couldn't fly anymore. And we're all just riding around on these like wing clipped mounts that normally get to fly in the skies of Pandaria, and they just have to walk now.
It's out of respect, you don't want to insult them. You're like
That's a great way to look at it. But
the only flying mount that I can still get on is my my big robot. That's it. Like everything else, I just took out of the rotation because I was like, I don't want to see my friggin' giant Drake that I can't get on.
My favorite.
And I like running around on my Sky Golem because I feel like a big character when I'm playing my gnome, and I still feel like a Tauren just waltzing around. But I think on top of that, though, as well, is all of our mounts are from a different timeline.
Yeah.
And in this world so far, I don't think any flyable mounts have dropped. Maybe the Arakoa world boss might drop a flying mount. I'm not sure. Yeah. But maybe we could argue that just in this timeline, you would need a flying mount of this timeline.
Ooh, I don't. You're blowing my mind.
Until the timeline settles, Scott, I fear that may be what we have to wait on.
That's some intense stuff right there. Only complaint I have about the entire game. All the zones have blown me away. The story is blowing me away. I've yet to walk into a new zone and not be impressed with what I'm seeing in this 10-year-old game. I know they've tweaked a lot of it, but when you walk in there and you see that sky beam coming out of the sky and those Arakoa people down in the dark depths of that forest, that is an intense moment in the history of WoW. It's quite
cool, isn't it?
It's amazing. I didn't expect any of this stuff to look that good.
It feels like a Disney ride, where you just start off on it and all of a sudden this pivotal thing happens in terms of story. Yeah. And then before you know it, bam, you're doing loop-the-loops and it's all crazy everywhere.
I only have one complaint about the game, and it's a single tiny thing in one instance. It's in the Skyreach dungeon, which I've done like 5 times now. That thing is a fine dungeon, no problem. It's great, although a little dark at night. Blizzard, I know you're trying to play with day-night cycle stuff. It's a little dark at night. It's better in the day. Anyway, that's not my point. My complaint about that dungeon is there's that point where you got to walk against the wind for like a little spiral and a staircase. It serves nothing to exist. It is a dumb mechanic with no payoff, with no reason to exist.
Isn't there like a way to die on that later on in the dungeon?
They're definitely, well, not in the dungeon, not in any of the fights. When you go up that thing, you can get blown off like an idiot, but then your team has to wait for you.
Mechanic type of thing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's like
a snail.
Whoops, you died. Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks because it doesn't do. It's not fun. It does nothing. It makes you go slow.
It's a boss.
It's terrible. And we always lost like the healer right off the edge. I'm like, dude, you got to walk against the thing. Don't try to cut in the middle. Well, I don't know what is this for? It's a good question. What is it for? It's for nothing. It's garbage.
It's to watch people fly off of the thing and be like, oh, whoops. Don't do that again.
Hey, that works great in
randoms.
thing.
Like, what were the stupid slimes for in Nax? Like, what was any of that for?
That's a good point.
What was the hole in the pipe for in Nax? It just,
It's like larger philosophical question.
This is a dangerous world out here, Scott. Sometimes you get blown off of a cliff.
The only other thing I would say, and then we will actually get to the news, that I wanted to mention was I believe that Garrisons are actually a valid argument for Blizzard to do something with either the mobile app or something separate. And all I'm talking about here is checking on your orders, sending guys off to missions, welcoming them back and seeing what you got when they get back. Some kind of app to support that is not the same argument as Pet Battles, which is an active experience, and they want to keep you in the world for that. I think that you should be able to do offline stuff.
In your own Garrison, you should be able to do that on a phone. There's no doubt with that.
So,
and I think that everyone wants that.
I don't think they will. Like, I'm not even saying they will. I'm just making the argument that
they should.
This is a reason they could do it, and do it before someone else hacks some other way, and you don't want that. All right.
People are trying to hack a way to do it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Patrick, how's your hacked method coming? How you doing over there?
I think it would require too much
Lag on Skype.
Too much stuff.
work.
Too much what?
Too much work. Too much work. Too much work.
That was awesome because you lagged out and we were just on pins and needles, man.
You lagged out at the perfect time.
Yeah.
It'll require too much.
And then work.
And I liked it because we got a chance to kind of think of, wow, too much
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think you were going to
Trust
say?
on Blizzard's part.
Yeah. Sexuality? What? All right. Big news? Is that what we're having now? Oh, look at this.
Big news of the week.
Big news of the week brought to you by DoghouseSystems.com with their amazing new Blizzard systems. Great time this holiday to pick one of those up with a little side panel of either the Horde or Alliance. The art is from a Blizzard artist. The Horde side of it is based on Gerp and Henry.
Horde side.
Horde side. Hey, now I got to play it.
Horde side.
There you go. Yeah, go get one. And they're going to have some amazing deals for Black Friday. Those are already listed on the site, DoghouseSystems.com for more. Get a great new PC and play the way you're supposed to. J. Allen Brak said sorry, and he gave us all some free time. I have paraphrased some of what he said here, and I'll read it now. He says, I know how much everyone was looking forward to this expansion, and once you were able to get in and start having fun, all the comments I've seen indicate that this is one of our best yet. But the quality of the content does not excuse the subpar launch experience we delivered, and I apologize for that. In recognition of the difficulties so many of you ran into on that day and those subsequent days, we've added 5 days worth of extra time to every subscription in the Americas, Oceania, and Europe, as well as Friday, or that it's active as of Friday the 14th. Yeah, that was last Friday, or a few days ago. Anyway, the things are already in a much better place than they were going into the weekend. I mean, honestly, I didn't have any trouble even logging in after Saturday. It was just fine.
Well, I think that you were very lucky. I personally
Europe seemed to take a bigger brunt.
And Europe, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think we had a DDoS either. I think that was an American thing, but I could be wrong. We just had a sheer massive amount of players coming back, and equally because there've been some realm merges. Like I play on an RP PvP realm, and they merged all 4 of those into the single one realm. So I feel like that compounded a difficulty of everyone coming back, and it's all now sharing the same space. But I mean, the problems would come in that you'd spend, I don't know, 3 hours maybe in a queue, maybe 4, get in to find server restart in 9 minutes. And you're like, oh, son of a... And then sometimes what would happen is you would lag out, but you would lag out in a long time before the game recognized you'd lagged out, to then the point where you don't get the grace period of logging back in and already you're then back in a queue. There were quite a few times when I was ripping my hair out just thinking like, this is ridiculous. And then you've got other players who are like, I'm just going to sit in the stockades because you don't get AFK kicked when you're in an instance. Or there's people with you know,
that was until what? Until Saturday?
That was, yeah, I'd say Saturday. Yeah.
Right. So basically what happened was it was kind of difficult to play, and well, really difficult for some at some times.
No, I'd say I'd say
3 days.
No, Monday, I'd say it's really? Definitely when did Jay's thing come out?
Just
came out
Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
Right.
since
a lot of stuff
then,
had been cleared up before that, though. Like
I don't know. For
I
me,
understand that.
until on starting on Saturday, there were basically no more issues. So I guess it depends on servers and stuff like
I
that,
definitely
but,
had issues on Sunday, definitely, and I know that was, you know, kind of during the peak weekend period and stuff like that. But like I said, I mean, so it was to the point where honestly for me, I kind of felt like, you know, my time was wasted because it wasn't even a question that I could kind of join a queue and then get my phone notify me when the queue was up, or you know, I ended
when did you ding? When did you ding 100?
I dinged Wednesday night, I think, or Tuesday night.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
so
Yeah.
And
so
it was under a week.
Yeah,
you dinged under a week.
I still played a lot, but equally I spent a lot of time in queues.
This is like hold on. This is like CSI Paris going on over here.
No, honestly, so I spent in the region, I would say collectively 8 to 10 hours in queues.
Yeah.
But where were you at 8 p.m. on Tuesday is what we'd really like to know, Terpster.
I cannot recall where I was. I honestly do not know.
We need
Terpster is basically asking for for more than 5 days.
We need
we
need a black light. We need a black light. We can search for Terpster semen everywhere.
Wow. I honestly feel like 5 days is a great amount to give, and it's
Yeah.
more than I expected.
Sure.
I was expecting like 2, maybe 3. But to see them do that, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I don't know actually if it's actually taken effect as of yet, because I know that Simon had to buy WoW time yesterday or the day before, and looking through my subscription payment history, I can't see any credit of days. Yeah, I remember back in 2011, apparently I got 1 day exempt. In 2007, 6, 5, there was back when they gave us 3 days.
Yeah.
I can see examples of that. I can't at this point in time see any example of 3 days, 5 days.
14th was what day was that? That was
as effective of. So if you had a subscription from the 14th, I think
maybe they're rolling it out, or maybe it's end of the
if you were active on that day, then you get 5 days, but it doesn't mean that it's already there.
It's there yet, so I don't know quite when it get added. Equally, I'd love to know the armchair maths of what the fictional money this costs Blizzard in terms of what is 5 days.
I've seen some estimates. I mean, someone said,
but okay, it costs them, but it saves them money at the same time.
Well,
so
no question.
You can just go, 5 days with the players that you would have lost if you had not redeemed something back.
I wouldn't have lost. They wouldn't have lost my business, and I don't think they'd lose a lot of
business. But there's probably a lot of people who would have been like, you know what, F this, screw Blizzard. I wanted to come back, now I'm not going to. But then when you get 5 days,
I don't think it's so much about the money as it is about, well, first of all, them actually genuinely feeling sorry and like they had a crappy experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also about the what the brand means, what Blizzard means, right? It's when we screw up, we fix it and then we make it up to you. And hopefully we don't screw up too often, but when we do, we do the right thing. And that carries an image that, yeah, because money-wise, I'm sure they're losing money. There's very little question about that. Yeah. But it goes beyond just the money.
Well,
I don't know. I think there's money at the end of this decision as well.
Oh, I completely agree.
Of course.
I completely
what I'm
agree.
saying is, if you just look at the money, they're losing money. There's no question about that.
Yeah, no, they'll lose. Absolutely. There's like 5 to estimates as high as $10 million.
Well, they say there's 10 million players, and if it's a dollar per player in terms of game time or 50 cents, you're already there at $5 million.
Yeah.
But I think beyond that, what would be interesting is a lot of games, and I don't know if Blizzard plans it this way, but a lot of MMOs work around churn. And so they'll expect after, say, 30 days or so of game time, what are we going to do to make the people that have unsubbed or are thinking about unsubbing, resubbing? And that's why you see stuff like LFR coming out 30 days after the expansion is launched or in that same sort of time frame. And now, in essence, everyone's 5 days ahead of that. So does that affect any of those plans? Again, probably not. But it's interesting. For other companies, I think they'd struggle to do something like this. Yeah. Or it may be that we don't see this game time come in until next month or the middle of next month, so it doesn't affect any of those churn dates.
From a PR perspective purely, though, this is interesting because I felt a heartfelt apology. There's a line in here that says, we love World of Warcraft. We're very proud of this expansion. So stumbling out of the gates like this was very disappointing for all of us. I believe him when he says that, and I believe them when they do things like eat $5 to $10 million and say, here's some free game time, because Dills is right. It does forge this relationship. But then they followed up like literally a day later. And I don't mean this that it's a nefarious thing at all, but with this news that the game is now back up to 10 million subs. Now that, to me, that messaging was smart, because the day before, apology, free game time, and we're on track. Next day, hey, we're back up to 10. In the minds of gamers, when you hear that news, you go, well, that had to contribute some to these problems, because that's a lot of people coming back,
Yeah, exactly. That's like 2.5 million more. But then I saw that 3.3 million copies of Draenor were sold, and yet it increased by 2.5 million.
That doesn't. Some people probably haven't logged in yet. There's
no. What it is, you have to. The wording is always really interesting in these press releases. It says 3.3 million in the first 20, within the first 24 hours, or that kind of wording.
Sure.
What they're not, it kind of seems like they sold 3.3 in 24 hours.
No, it's
actually, it's
yeah.
exactly. It's the pre-sales that are also counted in that. I confirmed it with them. So
Yeah,
there
they
were a
said
lot of
1.5
people who were
pre-sales.
already back.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something
Which
like
is
that.
still, I mean, they're impressive numbers, but 10 million makes me think,
I mean,
yeah, of course you're gonna have problems.
Yeah,
with 10
I
million.
mean, 3.3 sold is already, you know, a huge amount for a game that's 10 years old. And then, you know, 10 million, it's incredible. And I think compared to related to the
double digits.
Yeah. And related to the issues, I think a lot of people were super angry, and then they were like, oh, okay, well then, you know, then I guess I can understand why they weren't prepared for that amount of people coming back.
It's the right order. I mean,
think
in a way, it's almost genius because the order is terrible experience, sorry about that, free thing, news about why it was so big. You know, like it just worked
Equally as
great.
But
well,
I'm sure they
it
could
was
have
out
done
of
without the
Blizzard's
terrible.
Well,
experience.
sure. I mean, I don't think they wanted that.
But vanilla, if you remember when it came out, we all played it and we all expected login queues and stuff like that because it was such a big phenomena. And everyone was talking about it, everyone was playing it, and it was so much bigger than Blizzard had expected and budgeted for, to the point where they took it off the shelves. They didn't restock retailers because... And this was in a time when you had to buy the disc and you had to install like 5 CDs or whatever it was back in the day. Not even DVDs as well. Crazy. And, you know, they could control that. Whereas now it's a digital product and everyone just bought it or had already bought it. And some people then also went out and bought the box product. It's a lot harder for Blizzard to kind of limit that the number of copies that are sold, and that's why we had such crazy queues. Yeah, no, it's the number. The number served a purpose, and I'm obviously they're happy with it, or you know, and I'm sure. I'm ecstatic though as a WoW player. I absolutely love this. I mean, to have 10 million subscribers after 10 years is a fantastic thing that kind of makes me feel like I haven't invested all of this time, effort, and passion into something that's dying. It feels like there is still more life in this, and I want there to be, because I want them to keep making these games. I love them, and I'm glad to see that other people recognize how good this is, and I don't feel like this crazy guy saying, "Hey kids, come play this decade-old game," and they're like, "No, thanks. You know, we're gonna go play our other game." And that people are recognizing that this is a fantastic.
That game that looks terrible? No, we're gonna go play Minecraft. Screw you.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm all about graphics. I'm gonna play this indie game.
Exactly.
I just want to point out though, like from a support perspective, because that's actually what I do in my job. Like, yes, they lost money now, but they didn't lose money in the long term. And like that,
totally agree.
I think you have to look at it in that perspective, and that's how they're looking at it.
Yeah.
Like when I have a guy complain to me because something doesn't work, and then I ship him like 2 months free on his whatever, we keep that guy for another year.
Oh,
so,
totally.
Yeah,
totally.
I shipped him 2 months free, but then he pays us next year.
No, there's a reason Hulu offers to buy you 2 free months of service because you can't.
So everyone who's like trying to come up with this 5-day number and what it means nothing. What it means is here's a little bit down to get a little more up in the future.
Patrick, would you?
How Blizzard has always looked.
Patrick, here's a question for you: is it like lost leadership in a console war, for example? Is it like saying, well, we're going to eat $50 per console in our cost during the first 2 years because that's how we get market dominance, and we'll make it up on the back end? Is it that kind of idea?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some of that, but Dills is making it seem like it's a non-decision, and it's like, we'll give five days of free time because we'll make it up in the long run, and that's not really how it works. It's still a lot of money, and it's a big decision.
I'm saying that to only look at what they lost now is also a wrong decision.
No, of course, no, that I agree.
As if like
Again, I mean,
it's
their
all
costs,
part of
their costs obviously are consistent, but we're talking about imaginary money here. It never existed. It's game time. It's postponing a payment date 5 days.
Yeah.
So in terms of cash flow, potentially it changes something there. I think Blizzard's okay in terms of cash in the bank to cover that. But I think it's a fantastic thing, and I think Patrick's right in that this was a decision made by people wanting to do right by each other and their peers.
I can guarantee this decision was made, by the top level people, and they thought about it really hard, and they were
there
like,
was
well,
economic people that got involved though. They were like, just let us know, like, how much makes sense, what's the amount of time we're supposed to give, crunch the numbers for us. Like, that's
Kotex on the phone saying, how much money? I don't like
and
that.
I think you know, there was a discussion. Basically, what I think I'm gonna I wanted to, the way I can express what I want to get at is they could have given 3 days, and I think most people would have been happy. Giving 5 days is making a statement already in itself. It's like, we really want you to be happy, because that's what Blizzard, you know, Blizzard takes care of their community, and we've seen it over and over again, and it's not a trivial decision, and it's an impact. And there are a lot of things that happen afterwards. Of course, it's not, you know, out of the goodness of their heart that they're giving 5 days. It's also a company that's supposed to make money. So ultimately, they want to make money with, and this factors in all of it. But taking all that into account, 5 days is a strong gesture that doesn't come free.
Yeah,
but that reputation also makes money. Like that
of course.
reputation
Oh yeah, of
makes
course.
Blizzard a lot of money.
Yeah, that's huge.
They got to hold up to it.
Absolutely, what it is. Yeah.
If Blizzard lost that, they'd lose everything. I mean, that is so much of who that company is. So the minute you begin to play with that over a measly $5 million,
they still made games as good as they do. I think there's a lot of people who still buy and play them.
Assholes.
I think, exactly. I think
it's an amazing game, but screw you, you get nothing.
That's not what I mean.
You can look at someone like, you know, what Notch did with Minecraft. He made a really fun game that the community then took and made even better things with.
Yeah.
But wasn't particularly known to be a terribly nice person across the board. He was very opinionated and used Twitter as a voice and stuff like that. Didn't really care what other people thought, but people didn't equally care because he made such a good game.
No,
and I think
I agree with
it's
that.
an isolated example, but I think that, you know, Blizzard makes great games and they continue to hold on to that. But equally,
but don't you think part of the great games come from this culture, though? That's all I'm saying. That kind of positive
I think
movement.
you take the man out of Blizzard and you don't necessarily get as good a game that they make in an isolated world.
I think the best proof that the culture as Blizzard is responsible for the quality of the games is that you've seen time and time again people leave Blizzard, and groups of people leave Blizzard and go and create games in other structures, maybe, and the games weren't as, you know, compelling as the games that Blizzard creates, and that has a lot to do with the culture in the company, the culture of, you know, excellence and of wanting to bring the community first, and the way, you know, I think it's very difficult to put your finger on it and to decide exactly what makes Blizzard games great. But it's as much the people as it is the company itself and the culture that's cultivated there.
Yeah. I mean, we've got an example here in house. I mean, Patrick used to be a lot more pleasant than he currently is. He left Blizzard, and it shows you that there's intangible things that we'll just never understand.
Sure. Everyone use that as your comparative example. I think that's a great idea. All right, what else? I got rid of this Reddit thing because I don't care. Reddit's crazy.
The other thing is actually bigger news, I think, honestly.
It is, but they're crazy. I don't mean this. That I'm not saying.
I'm where Dills is. This is the biggest news of the week.
This is big news, man. This is huge news.
This is insanely huge news.
What? The need to greed.
I'm with that. I'm with what the hell's going on, everyone?
Yeah. With the Reddit thing, whatever. I think they're crazy over there, and so they can just do what they want. But they've reverted default loot methods in dungeons back to need and greed, and they got rid of the RNG.
What?
I know. I'm actually kind of mad about this because when I went into Skyreach, I got awesome loot in Skyreach. As soon as I got up there, boom, 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 drop, 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 awesome. I go in there now, I got a roll on it, and I hardly get anything, and there's gold most of the time. It kind of sucks now.
It's bullcrap, Scott. It's bullcrap. And yet, apparently, this was due to player feedback, saying, "Oh, this isn't very good." This is ridiculous.
People are kind of mad.
I think they're getting the feedback the other way now.
Yeah, they are. It's going both ways now.
I know that before with the kind of group loot thing before, where you were just issued loot, I was hearing reports of people where it just wasn't working at all, and people weren't getting drops. And I don't know if this was more of a tech fix of thinking, okay, well, let's just re-enable this system while we try and fix what's wrong with the other one, or if this is a question of what they're saying there in terms of people, you know, felt they didn't work. It seems a big change because I love it. I love personal loot. Personal loot was so much
like
fun.
A little bit of both, because they did say we got some feedback about this, but they also said we plan to bring it back after we can kind of fix this system, because I think they like the personal loot system better. But the problem is they changed it, I think, just so quickly and kind of out of nowhere, and immediately you started hearing about the warrior DPS guy took the tank piece, and all this stuff is already just like bam. Immediately we go back to douchebag Carl. He's like back.
Oh, douchebag Carl, we've missed him, dude. He's back.
I haven't missed him, Scott. I haven't missed him at all.
I know. I was so glad I didn't have to deal with douchebag Carl.
I was looking forward to gearing up quickly, jumping into Molten Core, and away I go. And now this is obviously put a huge thorn into that side.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Running like last night, we ran a bunch of dungeons and like the same 2 pieces dropped off the last guy every single time. And it's like, I just don't even need to know that. I just need to know that either I got a piece or I didn't.
Well, maybe
that's the way personal loot was, and it was fantastic.
If they're going to just retool it, great. I mean, you always have more options if you're doing pre-made, so you can kind of control that there. I hope it makes a comeback. Here's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things in the game, and we talked about it last week, but I hadn't experienced it yet. And that's when you're just doing a standard ass, go kill this guy quest, and he's going to drop a rare, but it's already, you look at it and you're like, well, when I get that, I'll be sharding it because that's not nearly as good as what I'm wearing.
And then the RNG gods cast a 20.
Yep.
Oh!
And then I'm like 20 agility up on the deal. That is an awesome thing.
It's great.
My first kill in the
back on this.
Was this wolf rare. Just as I went into the zone, that he's sat in a pen and he's like eating Talbucks, kicking ass.
Yeah.
I killed him. I got a cape that was 620 once it epic rolled, which is a higher item level than the legendary cape from Mists.
You need that to get into freaking Molten Core, I think.
It's amazing. And I think Nagrand is one of those zones that if you haven't done it yet, get the War Mill or the Dwarven Bunker, get it up to the level, I think it's level 2, so you get the double chance to roll on epic upgrades, and then do Nagrand. Because those crest rewards, if they roll epic, are as good as what you get in heroics.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it just gives you that step up. It's so good.
Yeah, that stuff's great.
In the chat room, there's another point about why the need versus greed thing is bad.
So I think what we should do is tweet the new Warcraft devs account right now, all of us, and say, hey, Warcraft devs, so I'm typing it now. We liked the personal loot system better.
Yeah.
And with love. With
love, not Patrick.
Not Patrick.
I'll do one.
I'm going to say
with love the instance.
All right, I'll do it from the.
No offense, then I can say whatever I want. Because if you say no offense first, it can be really harsh. And if they take any offense,
somebody gets mad because you rolled need on a piece that you did need, even though nobody else could actually use it. This kind of stuff happens too. It's not even just that you get ninja'd. Like
just tweeted it. Sending the link in the chat room. There we go. You can all,
Look at you socially engineering a response. This is great, Patrick. I love it.
It's almost like he's done that.
Right? He knows how it goes.
Socially engineering something? No, never.
I tried to tell them what you were saying, but
sure.
Next.
And then as a related note, Warcraft devs, that's this new Twitter account. I think it's a great idea. It's a centralized voice for sort of all the developers. The presumption is they're all kind of contributing to answers and things. So instead of hounding Mumper and Holinka and everybody else individually, you can still do that, of course, but Warcraft devs is kind of going to be this source. So at Warcraft devs on Twitter.
Bammo.
Yeah.
The thing is, what worries me though is when you make it less personal. Is that does this end up being like the intern? Does he come in and like, hey, can you answer all these questions? Here's a list of stock replies. The nice thing about Twitter is feeling that personal connection with someone and like you're interacting with that person. I found, at least in my experience, that kind of group Twitters don't tend to do as well or don't feel as good as a personal one. Like if you tweet the instance, it's Scott. It's not any of us. And so that's. It's basically you might as well tweet Scott. Yeah. It's cool.
Lay it at my feet. I see how it is.
No, but I'm just saying that's basically what happens though.
Yeah.
Is that then you get one person. When you email the instance, it goes through to all of us because we have that kind of redirected to our mailboxes. I mean, Patrick, do you get it yet? Has that already been set up?
I don't. Honestly, I'm not sure I want the spam. But
it's good though. You get the questions.
Yeah. Put it in your side mailbox somewhere.
It's that sort of thing where I personally, appreciate them making a kind of a one-stop shop. So if you're not sure, who do I email about this thing? I don't know. Is this a quest thing? Is this a world thing? Is this a tech thing? It's nice to have a one-stop shop, but it doesn't feel as intimate.
Yeah, and there's also the other advantage for Blizzard that they keep it, and it's the official Warcraft dev thing, even if people leave.
Yeah, if Ghostcrawler leaves again, exactly, they haven't got to worry about.
Greg.
I think there are a number of positive aspects to it.
I agree. I saw Greg. So Greg, if you're listening, he still listens. He was on this League of Legends, what they're planning for the next patch season.
We were acting.
Yeah, we were acting. He looked great on camera. Good job there, Greg. Come back on our show and talk about what Riot's doing, just for fun.
I don't think he can though, really, because I mean it's a bit douchey, isn't it? It's
that
like rocking up to your ex-girlfriend's house and just chatting to her family and just being like, "Hey, we still get on." It's like, no, I thought we agreed that we were seeing different people. Yeah, but I still like the family and friends. It's like, I think that's the thing. Greg he's fine. He's doing his own thing.
I'm gonna pull him onto another show or something. He's got
exactly. I think that's fine. I think if you do like a League of Legends or a MOBA show or something like that,
no.
I think that's fine.
I'll just put him on like Boop or something. The thing with him is he's got way less PR traps over there. They'll let him kind of go. So we're gonna
It's part of his deal.
It's part of his deal. It's like, hey, look, if I come over here, no more PR. I get to say what I want to say. They said, all right. And they called him, by the way, Ghostcrawler in the video, which means he retained the name. Yeah.
Totally off the leash.
Well, I think that is
totally off the leash. That's right.
you can't stop people calling someone a name.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
People, how it is?
Blizzard could say like, it's like Blizzard saying you can't call that Dota 2, and everyone kept calling it Dota 2, and now it's called Dota 2.
Yeah.
The reality is there's only an extent in which you can try to protect something before it becomes bigger.
Well, unless you're a wrestler.
He's also using the Ghostcrawler. He's also using the Ghostcrawler avatar as his Twitter avatar.
Oh.
I mean,
he's got the crab still on Twitter.
Yeah,
again, you can do that. You're allowed to do that, which is cool.
Just remember, at the _T just said you had crabs. All right, great.
Horde side.
Oh, that's his response. All right, great. Let's get to a couple other things here, and then we'll get to your calls. I don't want to read this whole thing because it's huge, but there's this really handy raid lockout summary on the official forums for those perhaps confused or wanting to know how raids are going to work and how the lockouts have changed since the last time this all mattered. And I made a nice little shortened URL at tiny.cc/raid lockouts. It's worth looking at if you're gearing up to raid, which, by the way, Molten Core requires some grinding. If you want to get in there,
you need 610.
Yeah. I can't.
To be honest with you, if you complete the grand and do a couple of battlegrounds, you should probably be okay.
You think so?
But it's not going away too soon. I don't know when it's going away, but I think you've got plenty of time to
January 15th.
Yeah.
There you go. So you've got
to do all this stuff. So you're
got 2 months or so to roll through it, and in doing so, you get an epic helm. I think is a guarantee.
You get a core hound mount.
You get core hound mount. We've already got the Corgi. But the helm, sadly, means that, for example, as an engineer, I was all excited about making some goggles. Now I don't want to, even though I can upgrade them later on. I feel like it's a waste of gear spring parts.
Yeah.
When I've already made now a mechanical scorpion as a non-combat pet that I will never see or use for no real reason. I think I may be clinically, mentally retarded. I still don't.
We've been saying that for years.
50 parts on something I didn't even, when I made it, I kind of thought like, hang on, I don't even use pets. It's not even like I walk around with pets out. I don't do pet battles. I've collected pets, I've got them, but I still don't know why I did that. And I feel for that reason alone, I shouldn't be allowed near anything of any importance. Really,
did we all do engineering huts? I assume we did. Because why wouldn't
if you've got one, I think the double daily cooldown's great. Having that cooldown work on your work orders is fantastic. Once you get to level 3, you're sorted anyway, because you can get, I think, is it 4 small plots?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't know.
And also, is the quest broken where I go to Shadow Moon and try to catch those fish and get their eggs out of them? Because I sat there fishing for 2 hours or something and never caught one of those damn fish.
Do you have
there's a fish daily one, is it?
No, it's the initial one that the Tauren sends you to do. He says, go to Shadow Moon, find any water there. I mean, the quest is simple.
You might have to put a bait on your...
I did, and I did that. Oh,
level's your
yeah.
fishing? That shouldn't matter anyway.
no.
Hang on. So is this
I
what?
bobbled it.
What
So
is this? Sorry, this is a
it's the fishing hut in my garrison. It's
So
Right, okay.
the first thing.
So, well, on the Alliance one, you went to Shadow Moon because you had to learn how to fish. And so you go there, talk to a fishing guy, and you fish up some stuff. And then he's like, cool, here's a book. And
Yeah.
you take it back. And they're like,
I
oh, sweet.
just put the bait on and then
Are
just
you
walked
sure?
like 5 feet away from
Yeah,
me. and
sure it's
started
not
fishing.
Frostfire you should be in.
Oh, I see
Are you
what you're
going to
saying.
the
No, no,
wrong
no, no,
zone?
no. You guys are thinking of the initial like unlock this thing, and I did that.
Yeah.
Now he's
Okay.
now he's saying I need these
So now you've
eggs
got a daily quest.
Yeah,
so
that
you
must
get
be
daily
a
quests
daily.
each day. Just abandon it, and it'll be a new one today.
because I think it
I
got
don't know why
bugged.
that's
I
not
think that's what
working.
happened. I think it bugged.
Yeah, just abandon it, and it'll be fine.
All right, thank you, support. I appreciate it. Are you going to send
Yeah,
me
you're
a
welcome.
follow-up
Done.
email, or we?
Yeah, you can have 5 free days
okay.
as well. There you go. Done. I'm really generous.
All right, great. Also, Garrison campaign quests are now active. I've not done one yet. I saw the dude walking around this morning. It's the big, I forget who he is. He's like a big elemental walking around to give me some kind of quest line. I don't know much about these yet, but I love this approach, period. Just straight across the board, full stop. Love this approach to dailies, having the Garrison be a place where I'm getting this stuff. I know there's other stuff around, but this is like great to walk into my little tavern and go, oh, there's a Pandaren here with a daily. I'm going to talk to her. And then this other dude says, I need to go get this thing. And I love that. That is awesome. So I don't know if you guys have done those yet, but they weren't active till like Tuesday or Wednesday. Now they're up.
I haven't done the inn, so I need to. The thing is already there have been a few kind of emergent quests in my garrison. Like I did one where I ended up in Frostfire, doing some stuff with basically Tony Stark, who happens to be a dark iron dwarf. Never knew that. And that was really fun. But it kind of felt like, and it gave me like a thing that allows me to get to Gorgron now really quick and easy for my garrison. And I kind of like this feeling that gradually I'm going to kind of fill out that garrison in terms of have loads of little clickable things all over the place that take me different places and do different things.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like the hearth pattern I've got now, so I can go Ashran, do a little void storage, transmog, whatever, port back for free to my garrison. Like you can get there's just a good pattern of Hearthstone use here where your cooldowns will make it so you can get anywhere you need to do quickly, fast, without having to think much about it.
Well, the double Hearthstone's a genius idea as well.
Yeah,
And actually
I agree.
having a separate garrison Hearthstone, I think, was a really smart idea.
Hard to tell what that is though when you first looked at it. You're like, what the hell's that stone? This sort of
It
looks
looks
like
like
my
a G.
Hearthstone.
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's like a G Hearthstone. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's all that. How about some of this right here? Whoops, right here.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the town crier.
Town Crier is an easy thing to get involved with. You can call us 801-471-0462. That's 801-471-0462. Leave us a message, make it short and sweet, and we'll get it on the show. You can also email us your attachments and your emails otherwise to theinstance@gmail.com. We got a call, all calls today. This one about how the quests are more interesting.
This is Kuchaline calling from the Silverhand server. I'm calling to see what you guys had to say. You were discussing the most recent podcast about how you feel more into the game with the way they've customized the quests. One thing I think that really helps do that with a lot of the zones is it pulls you into the storyline quests with the cutscenes and brings you into it directly. I was wondering how you guys felt about that. Thanks.
So, Patrick, if I had to ask you how important the VO and the in-game cuts are to this expansion in terms of immersion on a scale from 1 to 10 versus previous expansions, where do you think it lands?
I think the structures of the quests and the way they're organized would be 70%, and the all of the voiceover and immediate, like very often but just a little bit cinematics, in-game cinematics would be maybe even 30% of how much I'm feeling into it. Right? It's super important. It's like it brings that story to life.
I agree. And I also I'm always like, now I'm kind of hanging around because I'll turn in a quest, and a lot of times that's just, oh, you're done, move on to the next whatever. But then if you hang around, it's like, no, that guy's gonna walk over there and do some crazy ass thing. And I know this has existed in some other ways, but there's way more voice with it. You're not reading the general chat trying to keep up with somebody's text. Like, that stuff's a real boon this time around.
It's
and
really cool.
and just the voiceovers, as we were saying, like you just show up and without you clicking anywhere, they're chatting with, two characters will be chatting and just say something relevant to the quest you're actually coming to do. So that also plays a role, I think.
Yeah, the only downside to some of the audio is, for example, when you get a level 3 garrison, you're referred to as general by your faction leader, and it sounded kind of like a badass promotion. I'd kind of text my mum and said, "Don't worry, mum, I finally made it," and she didn't really understand. It's fine. No, but the thing is you do it. I haven't done it yet, but what happens is the VO still calls you commander in a lot of places.
Oh, weird.
And I kind of feel like there should
this
be...
cannot stand.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel like, hang on, if all of a sudden, you've been recognized as a general,
I would make you drop and give me 20.
Commander. Exactly. I kind of feel like you should be able to, right click on that person, maybe, I don't know, discipline them in some fashion. Maybe demote them. Exactly. It just kind of seems.
Let me just type this at Warcraft devs.
No offense.
But I love
with
you.
No offense. Start with no offense, because otherwise, you can say what the
with
F
all
are you
due
thinking?
respect. No offense.
You're an effing idiot. With all due respect, you're allowed to say it as long as you've said no offense and all due respect.
There's also some weirdness too, though, because I don't know if you guys have had this happen where I showed up for a quest and the dudes were all standing there. There's to put, you got like Duratan, you got Thrall, you got everybody like hanging out.
Yeah.
And something's supposed to happen, but it's not happening. And I can't do the quest because something hasn't happened. So then I got to run over here and like run back from a different direction. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, that kicked us into gear.
Yeah, a couple of weird bugs like that.
So there's some weird buggy stuff around it, but it's the good far outweighs the bad when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, by far. I mean, that Dalaran stuff with Murad and everything, that was intense. And and they put Black Hand right at the top of my can't wait to kill him list. Like it's just
Chatrith, yeah. Wow.
So or Shavrith,
I mean that definitely. I mean,
no spoilers. No
saying,
spoilers.
fine.
Haven't done it yet.
Exactly, and I won't spoil anything. Someone had a go at me the other day for spoiling something in the pre-show. I don't know when the pre-show is. I don't know when Scott starts broadcasting. Patrick had a go at me for spoiling it then. I didn't know I was spoiling it for other people.
Yeah.
Anywho,
it's a free for all the pre-show.
So Terran said to me that is his favorite cinematic that he worked on, and I think that it is probably my favorite just because of how emotive, how emotional that whole thing is. I think it's the best one, hands down.
I agree.
So
amazing.
Really make sure your system sound's turned on.
Yeah.
You don't want to alt tab halfway through. It is amazing.
I'll say this though: the only problem with that whole cinematic is for the Horde side of things. Hold on.
Horde side.
For this side of it is that we haven't been involved up to that point with those, I'm not spoiling this here, but those key characters that matter in that cinematic, they're kind of new if you didn't already spoil yourself on the videos on MMO Champion or something.
So what's this for the Alliance champions that are in there?
Yeah, the Alliance champions are kind of unknown to us other than we've seen them.
I mean, and well, to be honest with you, I mean, kind of Duratan is a name you hear of, and equally before you start that quest line, you do meet them all outside, so you have seen them at least.
Sure.
In terms of who they are, there's definitely not the same emotional attachment.
Well, because we've seen them storm the castle, we saw them storm the portal, we hung out with them for a bit there, but then it's all Kargath all the time.
I think the thing is Yrel for us is such an important character because we meet her during that first starting experience. I don't know if Horde maybe do as well when you're in the mines.
Do we meet her? I guess we meet her, but again,
from that point of someone near kind of slave labor type standard, and we follow her rise and help her on that rise as she becomes more and more dominant and relevant in that faction.
In fact, I didn't know who she was. I had to ask someone who I was playing with, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, she's from books and stuff. This is a character that's been around forever." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
Yeah, exactly. She in this game, even if you don't know anything about her as a character, I mean, even Murad's the guy from the Burning Crusade cinematic. No one really knew that. He's flying around on Northrend on the boat and stuff, but no one really knew.
You had to see Lords of War and see that hammer again.
And then you're like, oh, this guy's a badass.
That mace,
but like I said, they put it in the game this time, and I think that's really good. I think again, this is so annoying because everyone gets annoyed about spoilers, but I think some of the ways that Nagrand handles existing characters and how much you know about them and why they are where they are is disappointing, really, in terms of, and I don't know if I missed something or did quests out of order or something to that effect, but it makes a kind of conclusion type event that happens there feel less impactful because you don't really understand why that person's there. How does that relationship work? But that may be more explained on the Horde side, and so it may be that actually to truly enjoy this expansion to its fullest, that you should play on both factions.
Yeah,
and I think
so.
that's a big ask.
I think that'd be. I want to go over and see it from that side.
I'm going to say though that the other ones, the other expansions previously, if you weren't reading everything, people would show up and you'd be like, I don't know who this is. If you weren't reading anything,
this one's
at
a lot
least
better
this
that
time
way.
they're getting shown to you. You don't have to read
It's
stuff.
it's
All the
it's
people who don't
ironic
care
though.
about
It's
that.
ironic because I decided to read
Blue
everything.
Circle. I remember you for the quests. Yeah. It's great to finally meet you. It's like I always show you where to go.
Yeah.
Vaguely in this area, but not always.
But
I would love to meet that character. I think
this is the irony,
be...
though, is I decided with this expansion to read it all, and I have been, and it's the one expansion where I maybe didn't need to as much, but yet I did anyway. It's
it augments it. It augments it. It's better.
Sure, I love it. All right, there's a call here about garrisons and whether they are breaking auction houses or not.
This is Holy Crafters from Becknalesh. My question is, do you think the garrisons are going to pose problems for the economy on the auction house, considering that, gatherers like myself can now have become obsolete because you can just mine and herb grow in your garrison already? Just want to know what your thoughts are. Thanks, guys. You're doing an awesome job.
It's a pretty valid question.
Well, it's valid for him because it sounds like he's a guy who relies on making his money through his gathering. But
even
there's
then,
going to be things that are still hard to get, and for the people who aren't, and the economy works itself out. So
I think so. What it means is that these materials are going to be less expensive than they would have been on the auction house, but it doesn't mean you're not going to be able to sell them. I don't think. And as someone who has made an obscene amount of money on the auction house, I mean, I used to be an auction house nut a while ago. I'm not so disappointed that I don't have to deal with that as much. I'm sort of happy that I can get at least a little bit of my stuff just by myself, and I realize it sort of reduces the amount of social interaction to an extent. But really what social interaction was for a lot of us, what this replaces was logging on your alt and doing that with that character instead of
exactly
being able to do it yourself. So
kind of jumping through cooldowns and things like that. And equally, it's not removing any gold from the game, really. I mean, you have the 1,000 gold for the blueprints and stuff like that. But ultimately, if you're not spending that money on trade mats, that's more money to spend on the other things you can't make. Equally, it gives you the other options. Like if you don't have inscription, get the inscription hut or whatever it's called. Get it to level 2. Start making Dark Moon cards. Those are the things that make the most money in the first patch. Always, those trinkets are amazing, unless you're a tank. And I think that it's a great thing. Already, though, I'm a miner, and I have the mine, and I'm, after a week, I think I've got like 400 and something Dranic stones, so I'm nearly at level 3, and yet for the seeds on the herbalism, I've got maybe 30, 40 or something like that, because I only get them from that plot. So you actually find people with the trade skill will be able to access more materials quicker than people without. And I think that that's just naturally a good thing.
Also a good side
even
effect.
If I am selling them, I can get more than I otherwise wouldn't be able to. So it hopefully supplements whatever deficit the cost is.
There's a good side effect of the auction houses being combined across realms as well, where you're going to have a broader base of price structuring and things happening. So if you've got a server that is very heavily sort of self-sustaining because people are just using their garrisons for their needs, and don't care about maybe more of the advanced stuff that actual professions, profession havers can get by having, it's a bonus to have that profession and have one of those huts, for example. But the auction house part of it is a little more smoothed out because you're also not dealing with your local economy anymore. It's more of I don't know, it's not international, but it's, multiple servers with very different makeups, and I think that will help smooth that over. So we'll have to see.
Well, the economy is really just based on rarity. So you're sure, some of these things will be less rare, but there will be other things that are still as rare as they ever were, and you'll need to have that profession. To
and like
get
I said, I'm
looking
for all of it. Gear spring parts again. I wasted loads.
Yeah,
so,
way to go on that Scorpion.
help me
That
out
thing
with
you'll
that.
never
That'd be
use
great.
again.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Hey, by the
also,
way,
they made engineering stuff able to like be used by other people. A few things, so engineers might be able to make a little bit of
yeah,
scratch.
they should
on
make
the
some
side.
money. Sure.
Dope.
Terpster, just real quick before I forget, is the is that Corgi molten Corgi thing based on anything Yogscast related? There was some talk that had something to do with something.
No.
Okay.
It's just a core hound corgi. We love corgis over here, but it's nothing to do with us.
All right.
No,
just
this is
curious.
a 10-year thing solely just because I think Molten Core was so iconic to that original WoW, and this is a play on words and a slightly modified existing model.
Yeah.
So it kind of ticked a lot of boxes for the dev team, I imagine.
You guys should just take credit and then run with it. It's fine.
Yeah, but Yogscast isn't the only. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, it's internet. Exactly. Yeah, I think it's good.
Now, if they called it the molten honeydew or something, then we might be onto something.
Well, I mean, they even had Honeydew Village, but I still maintain that had nothing to do with Simon.
I kind of
he likes to
agree.
think it might
He does like to think that.
But yeah, I think again, I like to think I'm the only person in this room right now that has a shield in WoW. I don't bring it up often, like maybe once a day.
Yeah.
But it's like I like.
Yeah, but I'm the only one with pants, so.
Well, exactly. And I think that's fantastic.
More people wear pants than shields.
Hey,
I think,
I got.
for example, Patrick messed up in that he joined us a bit late. They're not going to revisit the show.
Can I tell you?
You've got the.
Oh, he's going to tell us the cool thing.
Hang
on.
All right.
The story then?
Yes.
No, it's the not cool thing actually. I was on a press tour with Ian Hazekostas, and if you're listening, Ian, I remember. And we started talking about you guys' items, and I was like, it would be like I would love to have. I used to be on the instance, and he was like, oh, you should totally send me an email, and I was like, I don't want to be that guy, and he said, just man, just send an email, we'll see, and I sent an email. Nothing. And with a lot of descriptions and things like that, and nothing ever happened. I was reading the patch notes and looking searching on Wowhead, and nothing ever happened. And I was so disappointed.
Hold on, there's a guy.
It's a neck piece. You get Patrick's scarf, and it's a neck piece, and it's
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
There's a follower though.
Yes, I think.
Whiff of cheese.
Hold on, where is it? Where is the follower?
So I guess I could have been harassing Ian a little bit more, but I didn't because I'm professional.
Yeah, right, of course.
Out there. Apparently, though, the original story is that they made one for Scott, and then they're like, shouldn't they make one for the other guys?
And that is the story.
And I was sending them
like
emails
the other guys.
No, you shouldn't. You should not. You shouldn't even have made one for Scott. And they were like, shut up, Patrick.
Yeah. And they knew me so well. They looked up my US character that I don't really play and thought, fantastic. Let's make
there
sense.
He is.
Dude.
He's a shaman. We got it.
This shaman shield, and it shows how truly relevant I am and we are to their lives. And it's great to. I think Brian's probably the only guy who we know listens religiously. I say just because he's got such a long commute. Yeah. But past that, I don't know. I don't know. It's nice. It's nice that people listen.
I found a character in the database on Wowhead called Fillmore Patricks.
Oh.
So I'm going to assume
there's a stable master named Patrick Messer. I think Messer. You could put an I in there. Maybe it's Messier, and it's a little French.
Let's go with that.
All right.
He's got his shirt off, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's a bunch of sound. There's a sound effect. Let's see. Oh, these are just normal. I can't get it to stop.
Like Patrick. It's got to be him.
Sounds exactly like that video I've got of Patrick. That is crazy. So Fillmore Patrick's is I think a Worgen, isn't it?
No,
like
human.
Worgen Death Knight.
Oh, he might. Well, he could be Worgen. That's a good point because he's human.
A Blood Knight.
Oh, okay.
A Blood Death Knight. Oh no, I don't know actually. What is he? Oh, maybe he's human.
I thought he was a follower in a Garrison, but I could be wrong.
What I like is that on Wowhead it says the location of this NPC is unknown.
Yeah.
So
some
it's
unknown.
like
from parts unknown.
Yeah.
On the Wandering Isle though, there's a guy called Patrick Burke, and I think Patrick's a bit of a Burke sometime. So maybe it's that.
That's a word I've not heard before. What is a Burke? Give me a.
Burke is like an idiot.
Oh.
So there you go. So,
perfect.
And he's on the Wandering Isle.
That's
Just
right.
wandering.
Oh, shit.
Here is a question. Well, it's not a question. It's a statement, and it made me laugh. So here it is.
Hey, Scott, Terpster, Dills, and Patrick. This is Eleanor, also known as Undead Goat. I just wanted to point out that if you put all the initials of your names, it could be a PTSD. That's all. Bye.
Great. We're post-traumatic stress disorder.
It's our
Which
grilled
is a lot
goat.
better than the old STD. That's the thing. It's like after that, it was an STD for so long that we've now developed PTSD.
Yeah, you can only have a sexually transmitted disease so long and have it wreak so much havoc on your groin until you have literally shell shock or PTSD, as it's known today.
Every week we infected 90,000 people.
Yeah. So thanks, Patrick, for helping us gain a disability of a different type.
We've got a much better, thing. We could have it on a T-shirt.
But, so that means that Dills is disorder, Scott is stress, Terpster is traumatic, and I'm just post.
Yeah, you're post. Yeah.
Came after.
That's awesome. You have it. Hold on. Sometimes I send you an email to something with that in it. Don't
I just want to give shout out to Undead Goat because she's awesome. Who sent us that?
Yeah.
She's always been around the community and she's cool.
Yeah, Beja at. Well, I don't want to read the whole thing, but you have an email that has post. Well, I'm just giving it away. Anyway,
what?
Yeah, you have an old email. The Beja.
Oh,
at,
just shut up.
Okay. At ptsd.com. There, go check that out. That's it for calls.
Hang on. This is a gay website. So PST is Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
And then we just need to think of something D for Dills. And then we've got then something that isn't that.
You know what? Let's run a little contest. Everybody out there, I'll send you some free stickers.
It stands for the Philippine Society for Training and Development.
Oh, hey, that sounds like a serious organization. I'll give free stickers to whoever we think are the funniest. Email them in. What do you think the PTS and D can be mixed around to be? What acronyms does it make? I will give some free stickers mailed to you if you win.
Well, we can have DPS T or TDPS.
Yeah, DPS and
a lot of DPS.
Yeah, your DPS and your tank. Yeah, I don't know.
Tank and DPS.
Didn't realize we had DPS on there. So
here you go. TSPD, testicular sympathetic pain disorder.
I have that.
Yeah, someone gets kicked in the nads, and then
you feel sorry for them.
I have that. Exactly. I think that's the feeling you get when you watch like fail videos when people like rack their nuts.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
totally,
the one. That's totally it. Well, on that note, thank you all for participating. 801-471-0462 again is that.
I think I just won, Scott. Give me a sticker.
Number. Oh, you want a sticker? I think you did win.
Sticker. Yeah.
Theinstance@gmail.com again is our email address. We'll get more of those next episode. Yeah, it's gonna do it, everybody. We're done. Does anybody have anything to announce? Anything cool?
I do.
Yes.
Dills, there's one of the co-hosts from the Angry Chicken who's cheating on you.
No. They do other podcasts besides just the one that I do? Because I don't do any of these.
That's exactly true. So I just want to tell people Garrett from the Angry Chicken and myself did something super silly, and that's starting an Overwatch podcast, which I don't know how much content we're gonna have. It might stop after a few shows, but for now we're gonna round up all of the information that we have on the game. And if you're interested in Overwatch, you can go listen at what's the name of the podcast again? It's Overwatchers.
Oh, Overwatchers.
So you can.
I like it. That's a nice name.
Yeah. Who watches the Overwatchers? Right? That's a good one.
Who watches the Overwatch? Yeah.
So Overwatchers, and it's hosted on amove.tv if you want to go to it through a website. So there you go.
Nice.
Overwatch podcast. Overwatchers.
Go check it out. If you're interested in that game, as we all are, then go listen to that.
Cool. Amazing.
Anybody else have anything big? Anything going on?
Yeah. So tomorrow in London, there's the WoW 10th anniversary kind of birthday party community event. And I'm going to be hosting the kind of main stage contest stuff. So if you are going, there was only 500 tickets and they all kind of went in like an hour. And then later they revealed I was going to be there, and people have tried to get refunds, but it's too late, I'm afraid. But probably people won't hear it before this anyway. But if you are there, obviously come say hi. But I'm really excited just because it's going to be like a little mini BlizzCon with like a costume contest, a sound alike contest, a dance contest, and there's going to be cake. So it's going to be
you're the Jay Moore of this event. That's great.
I am, I'd like to think that, I'm going to go out there and talk about the alliances and hordes. And people are going to be like, this guy knows what he's talking about.
By the way, nerd.
I'm going to be at the French one, by the way, not hosting anything.
But... Oh, you just be there.
It's going to be there. That's good, though.
They'll fill your presence.
I think I'm excited. It's going to be streamed, but not like, it's not like a live stream. I think you're just going to like see things that happen across Europe. I don't think it's all London or Paris or anything like that. But it's exciting. Should be good.
Well, what else can you ask for? Dills, you got anything going on? Anything?
No, but if anybody wants to do a lot of wowing and do a lot of dungeons this weekend, that's all I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be in there a lot as well. So, got to gear up for Molten Core, baby. I don't have anything huge going on except, plenty of shows over at frogpants.com. Go check them out if you like this show. Theinstance.net is our website. @Instance Show on Twitter. You can follow me at Scott Johnson, Dills at Willie Dills, Terpster at _T, and Patrick at Not Patrick, all one word. Our theme was created by Matthew Oxley. Find our websites, find work done by Paul Swickert, our intern. Thank you guys all for being here. That's going to do it for us. For me and everybody here, we'll see you guys next week for a whole new show. Bye now.
Bye.
Well done, everyone. Well done. That went well.
Oh, crap. I have a note here. Tell everyone to delete the beta if they don't want it anymore. It's 50 gigs.
How do you How do you do it, though? Do you just go and, like on Windows?
You can do it from the Battle.net launcher.
50
yeah,